What's up, YouTube? It's the Console Samurai with Grown Ups Gaming. Let's talk about No Man's Sky. When we first heard about No Man's Sky, it was very exciting. It really got a lot of our attention because it was something so unlike anything we'd ever seen before. It was instead of the usual space game where we're on a spaceship and aliens invade, or we have to defend our space station or planet from alien invaders, or we're off to fight a war against an alien threat. This was very different. This is just a space exploration game. It's a very simple concept where you go from planet to planet, exploring, documenting, so on and so forth. Where the developer actually made it kind of interesting was that there was going to be so many different planets. There's going to be a massive number of randomly generated planets that were all going to be unique. There was going to be widely varied plant life and animal life on each one, not just on each planet, but between each planet as well. So it really got a lot of gamers' attention because that's not what we usually see. Gaming recently has become very much safe. The major studios don't really go away from their established IPs very often. And when they do, the new IPs usually are heavily inspired, to put it nicely, by other IPs that they know works. So we don't see a lot of variety from the major studios. I know independent studios we do see a lot of variety from. We see a lot of new IPs, a lot of experimental stuff, a lot of things out of the box we see from independents. The problem with that is that independent studios tend to be very small, and because they tend to be very small, they tend to make a very small impact on gaming. These independent studios, regardless of the quality of the game, tend not to really make a big impact in gaming. They don't change the gaming landscape much at all, which is unfortunate because gaming has become very much homogenized. Look at the Call of Duty games as a good example. They don't really change much from game to game. And that's very much what gaming studios are doing now, is they find an IP that works, they stick with it, they don't make much changes. It's really just a yearly refresh. But anyway, so that was one of the reasons why a lot of gamers are very excited about this game, because it looked like something completely new it was going to be a AAA title. It was going to be a full retail. It was going to be this massive game that everyone was going to love. But then the game came out. And it turns out it wasn't what gamers were expecting. It was actually a very, very big disappointment for most gamers. It turns out the planets that we were all expecting to be very unique and completely randomly generated and very different from each other were not that different from each other. The plant life, the animal life was a little bit different, not much different. People were upset because these planets that we were expecting to see, a whole new planet every single time we went to a planet, seemed more like the same planet with an Instagram filter on it. This planet's a green desert. Oh, this one's an orange desert. Oh, that one's a snow planet. Oh, that one's a blue snow planet. There wasn't, yeah, there were different planets, but they were not as different as people were hoping. And because of this, a lot of gamers were very disappointed. I was disappointed myself, not as much as a lot of gamers. I do still actually kind of think the game is fun to play every once in a while. Not the kind of game that I would sit down and play for hours on end, like an entire day. But it is fun to kind of just log in, travel the universe, check this out, check that out for a little while when you kind of unwind mentally, or maybe when you're just trying to kill time until something else happens. But a lot of gamers were very upset because they expected something much grander, which I did too. Don't get me wrong. I was kind of disappointed in the game too. But because of this, PlayStation Network and Steam have decided to do a special refund policy. And this is a special refund policy because unlike their usual policies, there is no amount of game time maximum to get a refund. As long as it's been within the time frame of when you purchase the game, you can still get a full refund. Now, unfortunately, a lot of gamers are actually abusing this. Gamers who have gotten 40, 50, 60 hours of game time in this game are trying to get full refunds, and they're getting them. They're getting full refunds on the game. And personally, I don't think that's fair. You've played your 50, 60 hours. You've gotten your money's worth. Have you gotten all your money's worth? Probably not, but you have gotten your money's worth, and you should not be entitled to a full refund. The people who bought the game on Steam or PlayStation Network and then decided this game sucks after playing 4 or 5 hours, that's different. I saw somebody online make the comment that This whole thing is like when you order something at a restaurant, it comes back completely burnt, and you send it back. Or you take a bite and it's just terrible food, and you send it back. Versus when you get something at a restaurant, you eat the entire thing, and then you still demand a full refund. It's not fair to give people a full refund who have actually played all the game, who've gotten their money's worth out of the game. And to be fair, it actually causes another problem that I don't know if these gamers have thought of, or maybe they just don't care about. If this becomes a thing where you can play an entire game and then get your full refund back, well, why would the studios continue to make games then? If they're just going to be making them essentially for free, if they're just going to get all their, they're going to have to refund all their money, then it's going to become a system where instead of us having to worry about the games that we pre-order being shitty, the games are just going to be shitty, period. Because the developers aren't going to put any effort into the game. So things like this should actually be stopped. And if you're one of the gamers who tried to get your full refund after playing the game for the entire time, you're just contributing to the problem. Do not do that. But some gamers are just going to do that. But what did you think? What did you think about No Man's Sky? Have you played it? Did you think it was up to what you were expecting? Were you disappointed? Do you think that everyone should be able to get a full refund every single time if a game is bad, regardless of the amount of time they've played it? Either way, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Once again, I am the Console Samurai, and I'll see you around.